everyone, Trista Wesley here from the Simon Business School Office of Admissions. I spoke with many of you back in December regarding application tips for our upcoming round 3 deadline. Many of you have submitted your applications. This was our largest deadline, and so with that we have a lot of upcoming interviews. As many of you know, our interview process at Simon is by invitation only, and so many of you are eagerly awaiting your interview invitations. For those of you that have been selected for an interview or who are selected in the future for an interview, I did want to provide you with just some few quick tips prior to your interview. So first and foremost, this should be treated like a job interview. And with that, I definitely want to encourage everyone to be punctual. Very important to be on time for your interview. And with that said, many of you are coming to us from all across the world. And many of you are probably interviewing via an online platform such as Skype. And because of that, we really want to stress the importance of testing your Skype connection or your internet connection prior to your interview. So if you have an interview at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on a Thursday, make sure that you're checking and testing the Skype connection or your internet connection the day before at the exact same time, so that you have an idea of what your connection speed is going to be like around the exact same time as your interview. It's also important to dress professionally. Make sure that you are dressed just like you would for a job interview. And definitely know your story. Whoever is going to be interviewing you, whether that is a Simon admissions staff member, whether that is an alumni, or perhaps a current MBA student, they're going to have your resume, and that's going to be a very critical component of your conversation. So it's really important that you have a really good handle, a really solid handle on all of the details of your application, or your resume. So for instance, your interviewer could ask you a question about a job that you had 3 years ago. It's really important that you have thoroughly prepared an explanation or an overview of your duties and responsibilities in that position. Your interviewer could ask you about anything on your resume. So again, very, very important that you're able to speak intelligently about anything on your resume. And lastly, it's really, really important that you do prepare questions for your interview. We will give you a couple of minutes at the end of your interview to ask some questions, and by asking intelligent, thoughtful questions, that shows us that you have prepared for the interview and that you've also researched Simon and that you're interested in Simon. So maybe you want to ask a little bit more about a club you did some research about. Maybe you have some questions about a course that you were looking at. Whatever it may be, feel free to ask your interviewer, but definitely make sure you've done some research about Simon beforehand so that you have something to talk to your interviewer about at the end of your interview. So to just sum up everything, definitely treat this just like you would a job interview. Dress professionally, test your Skype connection, make sure you're aware of the time differences and that you've taken care of all of the equipment, so your video and audio settings have been checked. And know your story. Be very comfortable with the details of your resume and prepare some questions so that we can see that you've done some research about Simon and that you're excited about it. So good luck to those of you who are interviewing, and I'm sure we will chat again soon.